Oh no, my wife She-Hulk. No, no, no. I'm so sad.
Wait a minute. How do we know that that's the She-Hulk? What color skin did she have?
Green.
Any particular shade of green?
There's only one shade of green.
Fair enough. And how tall was she?
How am I supposed to know that? We were only married 10 years.
Okay, and what color were her pubes?
She was shaved.
Well, okay, I guess everything checks out. Still, it would be nice to know why she was murdered. Pokey, who had the watch last night?
It was Gumpy, my lord, but I can't seem to find him anywhere.
Wait a minute. You're telling me Gumby is missing? He must have been in on it. And our episode begins with a funeral for Laena Velaryon on Driftmark, with Vaemond Damphair officiating.
Vaemond Velaryon is a priest of the Merlin King?
It seems to be. I think he got ordained online. The Targaryen family has come to pay their respects, and their disrespects. Daemon laughs at the not inbred, and Aegon has decided to not wear black.
Now is the time to remind everyone that the High Tower's flame burns green during war? What a dickhead.
The dragons are frolicking, and no one is going to explain why Vhagar is here.
I guess he felt obligated to follow Laena's charred bones?
We then get a whole bunch of awkward staring. Yup, lots and lots of awkward staring. We get some babbling from Helena, and then a 10-year-old saying that he would totally bang his mentally challenged sister, which makes grossed out Aegon the most relatable character at the funeral. I think I too would be getting wasted. And now it's time for everyone's favorite game show, Make Sense of This Line! Hello everyone, and welcome to Make Sense of This Line. I am Chad Summerchild. The rules are simple. I will read an actual line from House of the Dragon, and it's your job to explain how on earth it is not absolute gibberish strung together by a madman. Contestants, are you ready?
I'm ready. Yeah, whatever.
And the line is, Lionel Strong's son has been staring at you since the moment we arrived, Your Grace. Unabashedly. It is only the look of pride, Sir Criston. Larys is the new Lord of Harrenhal. All right, contestants,
make sense of this line.
Ah, jeez. I mean, it's weird enough that Sir Criston is referring to a guy who's been regularly hanging out with Alicent for over a decade as Lionel Strong's son. But why would a proud lord be staring at the queen? I mean, we know the real reason that Larys is staring at her, but why would Alicent give and Criston accept this response? Okay. What Alicent means is that now that he's a lord, he feels he has the station to actually look at royalty, so he's taking advantage of his new ability.
Alicent is saying that now he has the station, he can get on the small council, and so he's staring at her to make sure that Alicent notices him.
Oh, I'm sorry, contestants. The correct answer is that pride refers to a pack of lions, and everyone knows that cats stare at people for weird, mysterious reasons. Maybe you'll have better luck in round 2. Anyway, next we have a touching scene where Jace goes to Rhaena and Baela to comfort them, and they hold hands, thus sealing the pact to give a kid a beatdown. Corlys then tells Luke that he will be Lord of Driftmark one day, and Luke says he doesn't want that, because that would mean everyone will be dead. And Corlys says, well, everyone does kind of suck, so it's not that bad. Rhaenys comes out to comfort her grandchildren, and Jace then faces Aemond. And we feel like Aemond is almost going to say something kind, and then fails to do so. And Jace knows exactly who's going to get the beatdown. Viserys then talks to Daemon about how the gods can be cruel, and Daemon says that they've been especially cruel to Viserys. Though not really, it's been around 15 years and this is the Middle Ages, sort of. Viserys going from this to this is much more logical than Daemon's lack of change, and don't get me started on Sir Criston's Stamos. And then, I think it's because of Westeros' uneven seasons, or perhaps the comet, we get an unexplainable change in the light. The details aren't clear, but there seems to be an alignment of moons and planets with some eclipses. Everyone starts going to bed when it's light, and then it becomes dusk even though the sun is out, unless the moon has gone supernova. And Vin Diesel arrives to battle a brood of aliens as the planet becomes pitch black. And then, some stuff happens. I can't really see what's going on here. Some more stuff. Yeah. Okay, I get it. This episode is radio.
And we are back for everyone's favorite game show.
Make sense of this line.
Alright, this time we have Rhaenys telling her husband, I gave up the idea of wearing a crown a generation ago. It is you, Lord Husband, who refuses to abandon this pursuit, even now at the cost of our children.
Make sense of this line. Oh, geez, this is a doozy as Laena died of pregnancy complications that had nothing to do with the Game of Thrones. So somehow Laena actually married Daemon for political reasons, even though she seems to have chosen him of her own volition, independent of Corlys, and that's why they were in Pentos away from Maesters, and Rhaenys blames Corlys for that.
Rhaenys is suffering from grief, so she can't be expected to speak logically.
Oh, I'm sorry. The correct answer is, off-screen and with no mention of this in the source material, it was Corlys who pressured Laena to have a third child to marry to Joffrey Velaryon if a girl, or Jace's future child if a boy. Better luck next time.
So next, Rhaenyra and Daemon decide to go walking on the beach and start talking about her marriage with Laenor and her relationship with Harwin. And then the two find this dead horse. They just start beating it and beating it and beating it.
What? Are you saying that Laenor isn't the father of Rhaenyra's children? I didn't know that! I mean, we only had the stares of Harwin, and the confirmation from Laenor himself, and the suspicions of Alicent, and the accusation by Preston and the response by Harwin, and the accusation by Lionel, and the jokes from Daemon, and the confirmation by Rhaenyra to Jace, and the laughter of Daemon at the funeral, and the discussion between Corlys and Rhaenys. But man, I was really confused. I thought maybe Laenor was the father. Thank goodness we have this scene between Rhaenyra and Daemon clearing everything up. Laenor, not the father. Thank you, Rhaenyra.
So Rhaenyra is then angry with Daemon for not whisking her away, and Daemon says that back then Rhaenyra was only a child.
Wasn't she like 18 or 19 years old?
Yes, she was.
And wasn't Laena like 15 when he married her?
I don't know. Whatever the case, they bone, I think. I can't really see. Daemon's erectile dysfunction is now a dropped plot. And then, I'm not really sure what happens next, but it looks like maybe Draco Malfoy steals a dragon. So Aemond returns, acts like a dick, and it's time for the kid to get a beatdown. Things escalate quickly as a rock is introduced, but then Luke takes out Aemond's eye. The Kingsguard arrives and... I guess we're gonna have to talk about how incompetent the Kingsguard, any Targaryen guards, and any Driftmark guards are. Oh, hey there, Shade of the Lamp.
I just wanted to point out that Viserys calls his Kingsguard incompetent. Therefore, we can accept that they are and move on.
Can we? I mean, sometimes it's a bit much. On this evening, we know that Princess Rhaenyra, Prince Daemon, and Prince Consort Laenor are all unaccounted for and not being guarded by anyone. We also know that Aemond leaves the castle to go find a dragon, and Baela and Rhaena go leave their rooms to find Jace and Luke, meaning none of these people have posted guards. Think about that. That's more than half of the royal family that has no protection at all. They're not being protected by Kingsguard, by Targaryen Guard, by Velaryon Guard. Now yes, Kristen says that the Kingsguard has never had to protect princes from each other, but this ignores the fact that Targaryen royalty has in fact attacked each other in the past. Maegor, of course, went to war with his nephews and nieces. As you know, succession can cause fights. Plus, wasn't Daemon specifically considered a threat? Remember how the small council thought he was going to start murdering people in order to become king? And then there was that time he committed treason and declared himself the true heir? And then he returned and everyone was really wary? And the last time he and the king spoke, there was a physical altercation? And then he crashed a wedding and was accused of murder? Does anyone remember any of this? I mean, I get that the king is a forgiving guy, but honestly, from a security standpoint, don't you think that tonight would be a night where you'd want to have heightened security? But even if we ignore all of the family infighting, there are dozens of people staying in the castle. Where is the protection of royalty from them? Not to mention, let's keep in mind that Aemond returns to the castle from the outside and is met by Jace, Luke, Rhaena, and Baela, who have come from their rooms. This proves that there is no guard standing between the outside and the second and third in line to the throne or the grandchildren of the Lord of the Castle. I'm surprised Larry Strong didn't just murder everyone, because he totally could have. I mean, the whole situation is insane, really. How is it that the Kingsguard are the first on the scene and not a Driftmark guard or a Driftmark servant? And by the way, I think only 4 Kingsguard came with Viserys, meaning they left the king unguarded at this moment. And I'd also really like to know the timeline on this. Aemond is having his stitches finished, so it appears it's been quite a while since the fight. Hundreds of candles have been lit, and many lords have gotten into their clothes and have done their hair. Yet the king is now only asking about what happened, and Corlys just arrives on the scene. Alicent as well is just learning now about the fate of Aemond's eye. Did an hour or so pass with no one alerting the king, the queen, or the lord of the castle?
Oh, Criston Cole, promote that man to Lord Commander.
I know all of this seems like nitpicking, but the scene goes on to be so incredibly sloppy. Rhaenyra asks for a boy who just lost an eye to be tortured in front of a room of nobles. Alicent accuses Laenor of being gay in Corlys's hall in front of a room of nobles. Aegon commits treason and calls Jason Luke bastards in front of a room of nobles. Alicent asks for Lucerys' eye to be cut out in front of a room of nobles. Yes, many of these lines are from the source material, but they didn't speak them in public in front of everyone as far as we know. Honestly, what characters would be so reckless? We have a parallel scene with Cersei and Ned, and they act with tact. And Cersei's insane. Honestly, who would act like this? Maybe Joffrey? Euron? Is that where we are? Everybody's a Joffrey or a Euron?
I'm a Samantha.
I'm a Miranda.
Which one?
Both.
Well, in almost a dare to be more ridiculous than Criston Cole murdering Joffrey Lonmouth, Alicent then grabs a dagger and moves to stab out a 7-year-old's eye, which shifts to trying to murder the king's daughter and heir to the throne. Now, I can perhaps understand Alicent's actions as she's distraught, but please explain to me why every guard in the room is an idiot. First of all, when the whole thing starts, the one crazy armed person heads away from the king, and Harold Westerling yells, "Stay with the king," for some reason. The Kingsguard, by the way, do not stay with the king. And then every other person in the room acts like this is some sort of Mexican standoff. Except, no, the only person who is armed and who is trying to hurt anyone is Alicent. Any person in the room could have just grabbed her and pulled her off of Rhaenyra. Anyone. Instead, 2 Kingsguard and Daemon Targaryen decide to hold Criston Cole, and Harold Westerling holds back a couple of guards for some reason. Why? Why is anyone doing this? Why doesn't a single person just pull Alicent off Rhaenyra or grab the dagger? It's just so baffling. I mean, if I had to choose which scene was more illogical, this or Ramsay fighting Yara at the Dreadfort, I would actually have to choose this scene. At least with Ramsay and Yara, both sides are armed and there's some chaos of battle, and Ramsay and the Greyjoys are all reckless characters. But here there is one clear, simple problem. An untrained woman with a knife is trying to murder an unarmed person, and the entire security apparatus just breaks down and doesn't know what to do. Even after she slices the king's daughter and heir to the throne open, they all stand around and do nothing. It's laughably bad. The king's daughter and heir to the throne is bleeding profusely, and no one, including the maester, does anything. It's Aemond of all people who deals with the situation by standing up and walking over slowly and speaking what amounts to nonsense to everyone. "Do not mourn me, mother. It was a fair exchange. I may have lost an eye, but I gained a dragon." Except, my god, no one knows what you're talking about, Draco. The dragon wasn't even mentioned in the entire scene. Was this a first take based on a first draft? Aemond plops the wounded side of his face into his mother and doesn't scream out in pain. Meanwhile, the blacks pose for a picture or something as Rhaenyra loses 3 pints of blood.
Well, if that weren't bad enough, Otto Hightower comes in afterwards and gives a weird "atta-girl" to his daughter for her insane behavior, saying that for the first time, he's seen dedication in her. I guess the whole having sex with the Crypt Keeper for 15 years and bearing his mutant children doesn't take any dedication. Laenor then tells Rhaenyra that he's going to try much harder to be a good husband, which of course pushes Rhaenyra into wanting to get rid of him, and they watch the Greens depart for King's Landing, Helena becoming a dragon rider off screen. And then we proceed to get some top-notch pseudo-intellectual babble. Rhaenyra says, "Fire has such strange power. Everything that House Targaryen possesses is owed to it, yet it has cost us both what we love." Oh, jeez. Of course, fire didn't cost Daemon anything, as Laena was already dying of pregnancy complications, but even assuming that fire took Daemon's wife from him, there is nothing strange about the power of fire at all. Fire can be used to kill people. That's it. That's its power.
Targaryen power comes from the fact that fire kills people. Dragons can kill people with fire. Harwin and Laena were also killed by fire. There's nothing strange about the dangerous aspect of fire. It's really quite fundamental to its nature. It's combustion. I mean, are we all stoned here? Are we supposed to be thinking that fire is strange? Like, dude, think about it, man. Fire, man, it burns. Imagine the sentence with an equally appropriate word. Swords have such strange power. Everything that House Stark possesses is owed to them, yet they have cost us both what we love. And then Daemon, completely out of character, adds to the gibberish by saying that the Velaryons may have had the right of it, the sea being a better ally. As if the sea isn't also power? As if the sea and ships don't also kill people? It's absolute nonsense, and it's here solely to set up this final line. Fire is a prison, the sea offers an escape. Now clearly that line is supposed to be some sort of poetic foreshadowing about the fate of Laenor. Fire is power, the royal life, and thus a prison for Laenor. The sea is freedom for Laenor. But man, oh man, the leaps and bounds they had to go through to get here. Again, Rhaenyra had to be randomly talking about the strange, but not really strange nature of fire, framing Laena's death as caused by it rather than pregnancy complications, and then Daemon had to suddenly bring up the sea as a superior path, just so they could say, fire is a prison, sea offers an escape. A line that only makes sense in retrospect.
Anyway, in the next scene, Laurie says, "Hey, Alicent, you want me to totally murder someone?" And Alicent says, "Yeah, probably."
And we're back for everyone's favorite game show,
Make sense of this line.
All right, contestants, near the end of the episode, Rhaenyra says, "With you as my husband and prince consort, my claim would not be so easily challenged."
Make sense of this line.
Oh, wow, this is a really bad one. Okay, Rhaenyra marrying her uncle doesn't really improve her claim in any way that I can see, as Aegon is a firstborn son, and feudal lords would definitely feel uncomfortable about their brothers possibly usurping their son's claims. Not to mention Daemon is clearly hated more than Laenor in Westeros. Forces conspired to keep Daemon off the throne, and people probably don't like the whole treason incident, and, oh god, the murder of Rhea Royce in the Vale. And why risk your relationship with the most powerful house in Westeros, the Velaryons? Did she do it for the gold cloaks? Is it an age thing? Aegon's still a little young, so the lords would be comfortable with an adult man, kinda sort of ruling instead of a boy?
I'm sorry, the correct answer is, all of the lords of Westeros would believe that Daemon would kill Jace, Luke, and Joffrey to make room for his own children, and eliminate the possibility of a bastard on the throne. Thank you for playing, we have some nice parting gifts.
Wear a cloak. 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 Have sex with your niece at a brothel. Murder your wife. Conspire to murder an innocent person so your niece's gay husband can abandon his life.
Thank goodness I made it across the narrow sea for my new life.
Hello, welcome to Marine, the most peaceful and prosperous city in the world. What brings you here?
Well, I decided to fake my own death, abandon my family and children, and start a new life because, YOLO.
Oh, you faked your own death.
Oh yeah, I conspired to murder this loyal servant of my house, Gumby, and then I pulled a Quentin Martell body swap.
I see, and your family and children knew about this?
Oh, no, they are deeply, deeply traumatized. My parents just lost my sister too, and one of my sons is 7. The other one's 9. They will never, ever get over this.
And you killed someone?
Oh yeah, he was a really good man. Wife and 4 children too. I've totally destroyed their lives.
Wow, that's, savage. I'm a ruthless sellsword, and I've never done anything so evil in my life.
No. You don't understand. We did this because I'm a good person.